Hello?
Dr. Blue, hi, it's Alex from the Doctor Who Guide.
Who?
You know, the Doctor Who Guide, helping you grow your knowledge, your collection, your connection with other Doctor Who fans. You must have heard of me.
Sorry, I'm not ringing any bells. How did you get this number?
Oh, never mind that. Listen, I just wanted to say that I love your Doctor Who Theories series. If you ever need a hand with a theory, I would love to help.
Thanks. It's funny you should say that, as I'm actually struggling on my current theory. I'm basically trying to explain how Orson Pink can exist.
Well, I could do that for you then.
I don't know. These things take a lot of time and dedication. You really have to be willing to analyse every single detail about the programme.
I can wear a suit in the video?
Done.
Seriously? Oh, thank you. You will not regret this. I'm going to make this the best theory video you have ever seen.
Be warned though, it is so difficult to create one for him that works, considering the events of the series.
Yes, yes. Oh, well, I mean, it's Orson Pink. How hard could it be? I think I've got it. I think I've figured it out. Yeah. Let's roll the titles. Hello, wonderful Doctor Who fan. Welcome to the Dr. Blue YouTube channel. If you haven't noticed yet, I am not Dr. Blue. My name is Alex Patterson. I'm from the Doctor Who Guide, and I love helping you grow your Doctor Who knowledge, your collection, and your connection with other Doctor Who fans. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely check out my YouTube channel. It's not as good as this one, but if you like what you see here today, you should definitely check it out. This is a theory video, and if you don't know, there's a series of videos that Dr. Blue does here on the channel where he takes an unexplained part of the new series of Doctor Who, and he comes up with a theory to explain it. He just does a brilliant job at solving it. Did the 12th Doctor kill Half-Face Man? Was there a creature under the bed in Listen? How has the 9th Doctor not seen his face before Rose? It's really cool, the ideas that he tackles, and today he is letting me tackle the theory of proving that Orson Pink exists. Now, before we move on any further, I will be spoiling the episodes Listen from Series 8 and the Series 8 finale of Darkwater, Death in Heaven, as well as the Series 9 finale of Face the Raven, Heaven Sent, and Hell Bent. And there are major things that happen in those episodes, so definitely watch those before watching this video. Now, the main problem is that the episode Listen heavily implies and almost canonically establishes that Danny Pink is the great-grandfather of Orson Pink. Now, this is mainly because they look exactly the same. They have the same last name, as well as the fact that Orson Pink has an heirloom that was given to a young Danny Pink by Clara Oswald. Combining all of those factors and the shameless hinting, it's pretty clear that Orson Pink is Danny Pink's descendants, and some dialogue between Orson and Clara. Time travel runs in the family. It really points to Clara being the great-grandmother, and here's where we run into the tiny little problem of the fact that Danny Pink dies in the Series 8 finale, and Clara dies multiple times throughout the Series 9 finale of Face the Raven, Heaven Sent, and Hell Bent. So how can Orson Pink exist when both of his great-grandparents are dead? After quite a lot of notes and research and marathoning of episodes, I have come to this solution. It's quite simple when you think about it. Both Clara and Danny are not dead. That's my explanation. They're not dead. Stick with me here. Death is not a final thing on Doctor Who, and I don't think it's a final thing for Clara and Danny. Now, at the end of the Series 9 finale, we do know that Clara and a Shieldier are riding off on their own in a diner-shaped TARDIS, and Clara is surviving between her second to last heartbeat and her last heartbeat. And while they are heading to Gallifrey to fix the problem of her not actually being dead, they are taking the scenic route back to Gallifrey. So we do know that she is off somewhere and traveling. If you've ever lost somebody, you know that you would probably do anything you could to bring them back if you had the chance. So let's go back to Clara for a second here, who threw all 7 of the Doctor's TARDIS keys into lava and didn't even apologize for it because she said, and I quote, "I'd do it again," in the episode Dark Water. So do you really think that the moment Clara gets control of a TARDIS with a Shieldier, that the first thing she wouldn't do is go back to save Danny, or at least see Danny? I think that would have been one of the first things she would do when she gets in the TARDIS. So in my opinion, Clara would definitely go back and try to save Danny. Now that we've examined Clara's death, let's examine his death. He did die after stepping out into traffic, at which point his brain was uploaded to the Nethersphere, which is a Gallifreyan hard drive that Missy, aka the Master, controlled. Events happen, Danny's brain gets re-downloaded into his body, and he becomes Dan the Cyberman. But because Danny did not choose to eliminate his emotions, he ended up not being under Missy's control. She has this lovely little device on her wrist. It's like a bracelet that allowed her to travel from the Nethersphere into the real world, back and forth. Also allowed her to control the Cyberman army. She gives it to the Doctor to tempt him and show him that they are exactly the same and that he should take over the universe. And the Doctor's like, "No, I'm an idiot." And he tosses it to Danny, telling Danny to basically do his stuff. And so Danny takes control of the Cyber army, sends them all up into the sky, explodes everybody, including himself, and saves the day. Now everybody's apparently back in the Nethersphere, or at least we know Danny is back in the Nethersphere, because a week later, Clara starts hearing voices. Clara, Clara. She gets up, sees a glowing wall, and Danny explains that the bracelet that made it possible for Missy to come back and forth from the Nethersphere to Earth has one trip for one person left in it. How convenient, Stephen Moffat. The bracelet has one trip left, and he uses it to send back a boy that he accidentally shot during the war. And so that meant that he had to stay in the Nethersphere as it died. Now, Clara's not alone. She's got a companion, and a pretty good companion at this point, and that is me, or a Shieldier. So I think it's very realistic that Clara and a Shieldier would have found the Nethersphere, taken that Gallifreyan hard drive into their Gallifreyan ship, and stabilized it. Or if they couldn't stabilize the Nethersphere, I think Clara would have remembered the bracelet. After all, she would have taken this piece of alien tech off of the boy's wrist. So my theory is that they get a hold of that bracelet one way or another. Either they steal it from past Clara's apartment and a Shieldier works on it and upgrades it so that it has more trips, or at least one more trip for one more person in it, or they use Me's knowledge of the universe to know where they can find a bracelet like the one that Missy got. They travel back to the moment when Danny goes up into the sky to explode all of these Cyberman armies. They then stop him from immediately exploding, give him a second bracelet, slap it on his wrist, tell him, "Look, this is what you tell me in the future, play along, and we will be together again." Go back to Clara's apartment about an hour, a couple hours later. Does that mean Shieldier and Clara have stabilized the Nethersphere? He comes out of the portal and books it to a meeting place that Clara and a Shieldier have agreed with him. Clara and Danny are now living together happily ever after. All of a sudden, you'd think things went on happily from here, but no. You see, the Time Lords finally figure out that, hey, she's not coming back the quick way. They have done things like keep an eye on her, especially her apartment, because many criminals return back to the scene of the crime. So, Clara and Danny are back together, reunited at last, alive, things are going great, and all of a sudden the Time Lords appear. And they're like, "Yo, we knew you'd be here. We knew that this was the one thing you would want to do. You can't be doing this. You're messing with time. You need to put him back, put that kid back where they found him, so help me. And you need to come back to Gallifrey and die." And this is where Clara remembers Orson Pink. Dear Orson Pink, you need to check your records. Look up Orson Pink. First human to time hop into the future, was supposed to go into next week, but ended up at the end of the universe where the Doctor and me ran into him. And I don't mean you, a Shielder, I mean me, Clara. He has a toy soldier that is the family heirloom. He knows the time travel runs in the family. He looks exactly like Danny, and he has the same last name of Pink. He's from the correct time zone. Look it up. So if you want to deal with the paradoxical implications of the fact that Orson Pink never existed, then you are welcome to do that. You can have the timelines explode when you kill me, when you kill Danny, or you can let me and Danny live our lives for a couple more years. We'll ensure that Orson Pink lives by having kids of our own, and the timelines can be set back to normal. I promise I will go with you. Just let Danny live. Clara basically bargains, and she knows that she has the Time Lords over a barrel because of this paradox that would happen with Orson Pink. That is my theory. You're welcome to improve upon it in the comments. As I was doing research, I was like, we should see what Moff would have said about this. Good old Steve. So I looked it up, and apparently in Doctor Who magazine 481, he does address this problem, and he says, I quote, "I can think of several explanations." Jerk. I spent so long just trying to come up with one explanation, and he's like, oh yeah, I can think of a ton. Well, then why didn't you write him into the episode? Okay, anyway. Says, I can think of several explanations, but the obvious one is that Orson comes from another branch of the family. You can check out the article on doctorwhotv.co.uk, which I will have commented a link to. So what he's basically saying here is that either Danny's brother or sister had kids who had grandkids who had great-grandkids. That would at least explain, the genes. In the script, he talks about his grandparents and his great-grandparents. The episode, he doesn't talk about his grand-uncles and his great-grand-uncles. What Stephen Moffat himself wrote is that Danny Pink was in an orphanage. So I get maybe he had siblings in the orphanage? It doesn't seem at all likely that he had siblings. It doesn't seem as solid as, none of the theories going around today are super solid, but why didn't you write that it was a granduncle? I'm not Moffat. My third theory that I tried to prove was that Clara Oswald is pregnant, and it's just, there was too much time in between the last episode with Danny and her time with the Doctor throughout Series 9. Like, she would have started showing. So that's why I went with my first theory. I hope you enjoyed hearing that theory. If you liked what you see, subscribe to the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel. And if you didn't, subscribe to this channel because it is done by a completely different person. Dr. Blue is an amazing Doctor Who YouTuber, and you should totally subscribe to his channel because he does totally bring you more Doctor Who, and who doesn't want that in their lives? Well, I'll be down in the comments. Tell me about your theories of how Orson Pink can exist. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Alex Patterson. I'm from the Doctor Who Guide, and you've just been watching Dr. Blue. Welcome to the Dr. Blue Guide. Wow. Dr. Blue.